Hello, everyone out there watching. Thank you to so many of you who've been watching these lives, not only watching them, but also getting involved when we repost them on IGTV. So I'm going to be adding my special guest in just a minute. But I just want to remind you to put your questions. There's a little box at the bottom. So I know we have a lot of our distributors and our partners around the globe watching us today. So if you put a question into the question mark there, we'll be able to answer it for you. So to get started, my guest today has been a leader. I would say a born leader. Started at Procter & Gamble, then moved to Estee Lauder, Bumble and Bumble. And just over a year ago, gosh, it's almost exactly a year, Zach joined our team here at Living Proof as our CEO. In addition to that, he's heavily involved in the professional community. He is on the board of the Professional Beauty Association, as well as on at least two of the committees for the City of Hope fundraiser that happens every year. So without further ado, because we have him here live, I'm going to go ahead and click on Zach, our special guest, our CEO from Living Proof. Are you there, Zach? There he is.
MSC, what's up?
Hey, welcome to MSCTV.
I'm so happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
I'm so happy you're here. So, we like to start with a beverage. And so
Absolutely.
did you, and I always ask my guests, do you have your Aperol Spritz?
Cheers. Cheers, my friends.
Cheers to that. For those who don't know, this is like all the rage. It's bad luck to cheers and not take a sip. This is all the rage all over Europe, and I'm really feeling like, oh my God, I'm not traveling. I'm not in Europe right now, but you go to any beach anywhere now, and it's even happening in locally as well. This has become the beverage. So happy with this. Nick Stenson's request for straight tequila on the rocks.
Yeah.
That was whoo.
Pretty nice for an afternoon. Get you going well. Nice. Thank you for that, Nick.
Little hair on my chest for the afternoon.
Right.
Yeah, it was awesome. So Zach, what I like to do is obviously we're going to talk about Living Proof, and we're going to talk about the industry as a whole and what you can tell us as our CEO. But I like to kind of go back and get to know the individual. So where and how did you grow up? So let's start with where and how was a pretty broad.
Sounds like a good place to start.
Yeah.
It's so funny because I've spent the last 20 years living in either New York City or LA, kind of back and forth. So most people are often surprised whenever I tell them I'm actually from Missouri.
Missouri.
Missouri. I was born in a very small town right in the middle of the state called Ashland, Missouri. I had fewer than 3,000 people population at that time. But, I ended up actually in Southwest Missouri for the majority of my younger life in a city called Springfield. Was brought up most of my life by a single mom with my sister and I, but in high school later, my stepdad came along and he ended up really just being like a father figure to me. And it was a great place to grow up in Missouri. Really enjoyed my experience there, but I also knew that I wanted a little taste of the big city. So I hightailed it out of there after college. Went to California. But yeah, that's kind of where I came from.
And I remember you telling me once you had kind of like a super cool dad. Was it stepdad? Someone was like a gossip columnist or something?
Yeah. So that's my stepdad. He's great. He's an interesting guy. He's actually been in radio his entire life. He actually started out as an intern for Casey Kasem, if you remember the old Top 40 by Casey Kasem back in the day.
Oh, yeah.
He interned for Casey Kasem. He lived with Sonny and Cher for a couple of years in his teens when he was in LA. And he was on the radio in Hawaii for a while. And he actually ended up doing the morning show on a station called KROQ, K-Rock in LA, which in the 80s was, the station that really drove like the alternative music movement. And so he has a lots of interesting stories. I'm not sure if they're safe to tell on MSCTV, but lots of stories he's entertained us with over the years from his many decades in radio. And he actually still is on now. He does a syndicated radio show that focuses on celebrity gossip on about 60 stations around the country every day.
That's amazing. Yeah,
Yeah.
we have a little weird thing in common. He wasn't my stepdad because my mom wasn't really the marrying type after the first marriage, but he worked at K-Rock, and so he would come home with like Dead Kennedys albums, the
Nice.
Buggles, B-52s. I'm dating myself. But I was such a music snob by junior high because of that. I was like, oh, you're listening to that crap.
Yeah, no, I've always, I think he really encouraged me to get into music, and I've, always been a huge music fan. In fact, later on, after I graduated college, I was actually a DJ for quite some time before I graduated into my more professional persona.
Okay, I'm just thinking like all of Living Proof, it's got to be like we got to get the band together because you're a DJ. Our chief sales officer, Michelle, who's also watching, was like on MTV Dance or something.
Oh yeah, I've seen her dance too. She's good.
I used to like literally perform at coffee houses. I was a grunger. I can share the photos. The long Eddie Vedder hair, the corduroy, yeah.
I may have that hair by the time we get out of quarantine, so we'll see.
I was gonna say you're becoming a grizzly man over there.
I really am. I swear I've been thinking about following your tutorial for the home haircut. I'm not quite there so far yet, but I may have to. If I get to that point, though, I may have to ring you for some live instruction.
And you know what? I'm telling people all the time. It's not when I release these tutorials. It's not me teaching your clients how to do their own hair. I'm trying to teach you how to teach your clients, like how to have a conversation with your clients, get them online, and they will tip you. If you're thinking you're not getting any cash right now, there's a way. So while we were on music, Zach, so I have to ask you your favorite 80s jam.
Oh wow, that's a hard one. Well, first and foremost, I definitely a fan of 80s music, so any number of songs could make it to the list for me. But I guess at the end of the day, I'm a huge Prince fan.
Wow.
So I would say if I had to choose for a Prince song, I would say either Erotic City or any of the collaborations he did with Sheila E. I really like Love Bizarre, if you know that
Glamorous
one.
Life.
Yeah, that's another great one. Yeah, totally. Love me some Prince, though.
I like that. That's a good one. Yeah, I was definitely into that, but I think 80s I was more Cure and sort of I considered myself a bit of a new romantic and all the weird hair that went
more
with
emo.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Emo. I feel like that was amazing because I had no idea you were a DJ. I kind of love that. How did you get into the beauty business? I mean, I can see your dad being a bit of an influence with K-Rock and living with Sonny and Cher, which is a whole nother story. But how did you get into the beauty biz?
Yeah, so I went to the University of Missouri for college and actually majored in broadcast journalism. I thought at the time I would be an attorney. And so in trying to prepare my resume to get into the best law school, there was a really coveted internship on campus, which was actually with Procter & Gamble. They recruited pretty heavily from my campus. And so really just as a way to build my resume, I'm like, it's a great company. I'll try to get that internship, and applied for it and ended up getting it. And ended up actually having a really good time. It was a sales internship. I really enjoyed working with customers and that sort of thing. So, from there, they offered me a full-time job, and I started off in Procter & Gamble in sales, selling a lot of really interesting products, some brands that P&G owned at the time, like Sunny Delight and Pringles and Folgers and things that are very distant from the beauty industry. So I did that for about 7 years, and it was around that time that P&G was starting to work on the integration of the Wella Professionals brands, which they had purchased, were later sold to Coty. But at the time,
Sebastian
P&G
and
owned them. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, Wella, Sebastian, Nioxin, Vidal Sassoon. And actually, a mutual friend of ours, Ruben Carranza, was the
yeah,
CEO of Wella North America at that time. And a colleague introduced me to him. And they were based in Los Angeles, where I
yeah,
was also located at the time.
the pyramid.
And yeah, exactly. The old Sebastian building at the Pyramid in Woodland Hills. Exactly. So anyway, I met Ruben, and he was a great guy and really kind of got me intrigued with the beauty business. And so I accepted a role working at Wella and started working directly with salon owners at that time. And that is where I think I really got the bug, was like working with salon owners and stylists
Yeah,
for a couple different reasons. One is just obviously the beauty business is just a great people business, and so
yeah,
just it's incredible people in this business, and so that was the first thing. But the second thing, I think, from a salesperson's perspective, was instead, in my old jobs at P&G, I was working with big grocery store chains that were selling products. But then when I got to go work with salon owners, I was working with these people that had invested their life savings, their blood, sweat, and tears into creating these really incredible businesses. And to be, a salesperson that could come in and really try to help them with their business, become more profitable, become more successful, and see their dreams really flourish.
yeah,
That there was just so much more of a tangible impact that I felt in working directly with salon owners in that way. And
yeah,
then as my career progressed and I started getting more into management, for me, came back to this idea of being able to make an impact, right?
yeah,
So, it was making an impact with salon owners in the beginning. Later, when I started managing, it's the opportunity to, not only impact, our salon partners and the people that work in our company, but then also to think about how, as a company, we can contribute to society and actually have a
yeah,
positive impact on society in total through giving back in different ways and being about more than just making money.
yeah. So important. And so I would say it's safe to say that you've abandoned the I want to be a lawyer thoughts, like you're happy in beauty,
Oh my
you
gosh,
found the right fit.
I am so happy that I did not go into that business. I got to tell you, I would have never imagined the career that I've had in beauty or what I've done, but I wouldn't change it for the world. It's
Yeah,
you know, I knew it was the perfect fit as soon as I started to get into it. And that has
yeah,
just proven to be the case the longer that I'm in the business and the more people I meet and more
yeah,
experiences I have. I mean, what better business is there out there than the beauty business? I
yeah.
mean, we feel very lucky to be a part of this business.
Well, we're glad you stuck with us and you moved out of no more Sunny D and Pringles. By the way, there are a lot of you. Yes, it's Zach. It's our CEO, Living Proof, and for our international partners. So if you have a direct question for Zach, type it into the comments or put it into the question mark box, and we will make sure that we get that question asked. Zach, what's something that you're most proud of? I mean, your path from it's career day at your university to now is great, but is there something else that you're just most proud of? And this could be really anything. It doesn't have to be career.
Yeah, no, it's a good question. I think a few things I'd say, what maybe a personal and a kind of professional take on that question.
Hmm.
From a personal standpoint, gosh, I'm going to have to now count, but it's been, as I've been with my husband now for 18 years. And so that's something I'm particularly proud of.
Yeah,
Um, and, he's been along the journey with me since, right out of college and, early days. And, we've moved many times for my career, and for him
yeah,
and us to still be kind of hopping around together is fantastic. He's been a great support system. So I'm really proud of the relationship that we have, and he's great. I'd say from a professional standpoint, I think one of the things I'm most proud of is, there's certainly been a lot of like business accomplishments over the years related to numbers and all that kind of stuff, but that's not what sticks out. For me, what sticks out are those interactions that you have with people throughout your career, right? When you think about, what is it that gets me up in the morning and like gets me excited about coming to work. It's, coming in and having an impact on people and, doing what I can to help people realize their own full potential and seeing them grow. And those are the things that I remember, and the relationships that I've formed throughout the years. Those are the things that last far beyond a great year in business or a bad year in business. Those are the things that really endure. And I think that those are the things that I'll remember when, all of this is like years past, right? Or those things, the people.
Yeah, I think that's so important. Michelle asked if we're having Aperol Spritz, and the answer is yes, Michelle.
Absolutely, we are. Yes.
we then what was it? What is your go-to song? Sorry, I can't see the name. To get the party people's pants on. What is your go-to DJ song? Zach's like, where is that question going? What is and this is, I'm reading the questions, Zach. So what is that go-to song as a DJ? Put your DJ hat on.
Now you talked earlier, MSD, about the fact that you're a music snob. So what I'm about to say is also going to demonstrate the fact that I'm also a music snob.
Okay.
which is that I've never been a wedding DJ. So the stuff that I've always been into is like the really obscure, like electronic house and techno music. And so, it's not, there aren't really any hits in that genre. It's how you bring different things together. So I don't think there's one song that's that I would pull out and get everybody dancing. So I'm not the wedding DJ.
He's not the wedding DJ, folks. Oh, so these are songs nobody has no idea the name. They come in like, it talks about the inches of the record, right? What are they called?
Yes.
That's how much I know.
12
Sorry.
inches, yes.
I'm just going to shut up now. Melissa asked, what are you reading right now, Zach?
Oh gosh, what am I reading? This is going to be a really boring answer to this question, but it is a bit sobering, but it's the current crisis right now is obviously impacting every aspect of society, business, you name it. And so a lot of what I have to do as the CEO of Living Proof is try to understand, like, where's all this going? Trying to prognosticate like what's going to be what's the future going to look like after we come out of this current moment, so that we can set ourselves up to win, and also set our partners up to win in that scenario.
Well, we're glad you're reading that. That's certainly not fast food, is it?
It's really boring, I'm sorry, but it's true.
So now that I feel like it's a good time for us to really segue into, how are you navigating as the captain of the ship? And I know you have an incredible leadership team, but as the captain of that ship, how are you navigating Living Proof through these challenging times? Yeah,
great question. I really tried to think about it, as you said, it's certainly not all me, right? It's a team of people that we're trying to navigate through this, and this is completely unprecedented. So, it feels a bit like uncharted water. But as we've tried to think about the things to focus on, there's really three kind of key areas that we're focused on. The first is, and you hear this theme, I come back to frequently in this conversation, but it's our people, right? And, how are we providing for the safety of our people and also the livelihood of our folks? So, we've really been doing everything we can to prioritize safety, jobs, income for our people during this moment, because we know it's a difficult time for businesses, but it's a very difficult time for individuals as well. So If we don't emerge out of this with our people, which is what makes our business what it is, then we're not the same business. So that's the first thing that we're really focused on. The second is really the business itself. So understanding what's going on externally and thinking about how we might need to adapt some of the things that we're doing to win in this environment. And so, one thing we're seeing is that consumers right now, a lot of the things they're really focused on right now are those essential items, those basics in the routine, because they're not going out, they're not, they're at home, right? So there's this focus on the basics, things like shampoo and conditioner and dry shampoo for us, which is, one of our top products. So we're kind of thinking about how we focus on those products that are really appealing to people right now. And also adapting to like this move towards e-commerce. Some of our, all of our biggest partners that we do business with are salons, retailers like Sephora and Ulta Beauty. Their stores are closed down right now. And so, thinking about how we really amp up, how we connect with our consumers on in a digital way becomes even more important in this environment. And, obviously the crisis is impacting business. Of course it is. And so kind of managing through that and being really nimble and quick and being open to changing direction based on the latest information is kind of the second big bucket that we're managing. And then the third piece is really how we give back to our community in this environment, because one thing that I feel very fortunate about is, Living Proof is a very strong company. We're the #1 player in prestige hair care in the United States. And, we've have about 10 years of history of being quite successful. And so I also feel an obligation as a successful company for us to give back to the communities we live in during this crisis. And so we've been doing that a few ways. One is, we've made donations of product to some of the frontline heroes with the healthcare workers that are working, which is something that's been really appreciated. And, it's a small token, but I think it's something that goes a long way. Secondly, we are supporting the Professional Beauty Association's COVID-19 Disaster Relief Fund, which is a cause that we believe very heavily in, because, if you look at how salons and spas have been impacted by this crisis, I mean, I talked before about the fact that, many salon owners, the vast majority of them out there are independent entrepreneurs that have poured their life savings into these businesses, and they're not making any money right now, right?
Not a penny.
And the PBA was, which for anyone who doesn't know, is the trade association that represents the professional beauty industry. They set up a disaster relief fund that basically issues payments to stylists and salons that have been impacted with the shutdown of the crisis to help them kind of get through the current moment. And one thing that I love about it is every single dollar that's donated to that fund is given back out to recipients. So we made a donation to that fund. And then the last thing is we're also thinking about the future. We have a heritage with MIT. Actually, a lot of the technologies, patented technologies that we use came out of MIT and out of scientists that have a long history of working with MIT. So we have this connection with that institution. And they started a really cool program several years back called MIT Solve, which is an open innovation platform that actually funds and provides mentorships for entrepreneurs that are trying to solve the world's challenges. And so this year, in response to the crisis, they actually are putting a program together to find innovative solutions to help with future pandemics. And so we've actually made a donation the right, for example, infection tracking systems in place to be able to diagnose hotspots more quickly. And who knows what other types of innovative solutions may come forward through that program, but that's another thing that we're supporting. So in answer to your question, it's our people and safety, it's our business, and then it's how we give back to society in the current moment.
And that is so incredible that we're in a position to be able to not only try and help ourselves and our people, but to help the greater community in general. I think it's incredible, and I'm so glad that you're all leading us in that direction. You mentioned PBA. For those of you who don't know, Professional Beauty Association, you should be a member. If I'm not mistaken, I think you can join for free if you're a stylist right now.
Yeah.
Normally it's a nominal fee. This is our organization. These are our people. They fight for us on a daily basis, and you should really get involved. What's your role at PBA, Zach?
Yeah. So, I've been a member of PBA for many years, being involved in the industry, back when I was at Wella, and of course through my time at Bumble and Bumble and here. But, it's really in the past couple of years that I've started to get involved in a deeper way. And so, for those who don't know, the PBA kind of has different groups within it. So people that represent manufacturers within the beauty industry, salon and spa beauty professionals, and then also distributors. And the PBA is the one trade association that brings all of those interests together and then lobbies for, the interests of the industry. And so I'm a member of the Manufacturers Advisory Council, which is a group of 5 folks representing different companies that kind of represent the manufacturer point of view in the industry. And then I'm also on the board of directors for the organization that is kind of like the steering committee, if you will, that works with the organization. And, the PBA is, I think, a really important organization to think about right now because, one of the things that makes the salon industry great is that it is made up of it's one of the last great industries that really is made up of all of these incredible independent entrepreneurs that I keep talking about. Yeah. The downside of that is that the industry is very fragmented and there aren't any big single players that can kind of push things forward on behalf of everybody in the industry. And so that's what the PBA does, is they bring together the interests of all the fragmented, interests of the industry and kind of pushes for them. Yeah. A great example of something that they're working on right now is, licensing, supporting licensing initiatives and making sure that there aren't efforts to deregulate the salon industry and actually, remove the need for stylists to be licensed, especially as you think about a time right now and how important sanitation is going to be, and coming out of this, like having stylists and salons that are licensed in those practices is going to be absolutely critical. And that's just one example among many of the things that the PBA does. But yeah, that kind of gives you a flavor for some of the things that I do with the PBA.
Well, thanks for volunteering there. I volunteer there as well. I'm chairman of NAHA, and I love every minute of it. I try and give at least 2 hours to the Professional Beauty Association every week. So if you're a stylist, if you're watching there, contact me. I'll tell you how to get involved. It really is primarily a volunteer organization, and we could always use help and input and feedback on everything we're doing. Let's see. There's a question. I'll wait for that to come through. But Zach, kind of a more general, your vision for the professional stylist community in the future. You're reading all these predictors, right? You're into the faith popcorn kind of stuff. Like what is everything going to look like after this? Any vision on stylist community going forward?
I think it's hard to say, but one of the quotes that kind of sticks out to me that I've been thinking about a lot lately is the old Winston Churchill quote, which is "Never let a good crisis go to waste."
Right.
And I think honestly, it's an opportunity for the industry, for salons and stylists to be a bit introspective and thinking about the way that things have been done in the past and the way that they might be done differently in the future. Yeah. If you think about it, really the model in the industry and the way that things are done haven't really changed that much in decades, right? And part of that is because of the fragmented nature of the industry. But, now this crisis has been so sudden that you see actually there's some really unique and interesting things happening out there in terms of the way that stylists and salons are adapting to this new reality. You're seeing, stylists, while they can't be in the salon, they're doing, virtual consultations with their clients and, trying to help them through this moment. It's a bit controversial, but you even see some colorists out there putting at-home color kits together for their clients to try to get them through this moment. And even before this crisis, I think we started to see some new models pop up of how a salon might be different in the future. I mean, I don't know if you've been to Ted Gibson's salon in LA.
Yeah.
But that is a complete reimagining of
Yeah.
what the salon experience
Low
can be
touch.
like. Yeah, yeah, right.
Yeah.
And so what I would say, I think even try to take the crisis as an opportunity to be a positive impetus for change, to actually think about, like, how can the salon experience evolve and be different in the future? How can stylists and salons leverage digital tools in a different way to deepen the relationship with their clients even after the crisis, right? What are other ways that the stylist can really add value to their clients? I think now is the perfect time to seize those opportunities to try to evolve and imagine a new world that I think is very possible. We see it in pockets, but it's the perfect time to really kind of reinvent and refit yourself for the future.
Yeah, I love that. So last chance to ask Zach a question or two, because now we move on to the game.
Oh my goodness, the famous this or that.
And these are going to get crazier over time. So you're lucky you're in on the first few weeks of this, because I'm thinking of going Ellen with this stuff and crazy games. But yours will be pretty basic. But as I'm doing this, know that last chance to get questions in. I did see a question that someone is concerned that Arizona is not requiring dry bars to be licensed, or there's an initiative. That is actually where PBA is based. So all I can say is I know they are on your side, and they're trying to help you get through that. So Melissa wants to know your favorite flavor of ice cream before we start.
I would say probably fake strawberry.
Pink.
Yeah, exactly.
You mean pink ice cream?
Yeah.
I don't get it. Okay, so we're going to play a game of this and that, Zach. So I'll just give you two options, and you can choose. It was hysterical. Earlier this week, I asked Tabitha plaid or stripes, and she said no. I was like, okay. It was awesome. Okay, so hot tub or hot spring?
Oh, hot spring.
Hot spring, yeah. Art festivals or music festivals?
Music festivals.
The DJ. See, I didn't know you were a DJ when I wrote that. Phone calls or text messages?
Zoom.
So, you prefer a Zoom over a text? I'm gonna
No, I'd say
one.
probably text messages these days.
Yeah, we're living on Zoom, weren't we?
I know.
Classical art or modern art?
Modern art for sure.
Yeah, me too. Hamburger or taco? It can be vegan.
Oh, taco for sure. But specifically, it needs to probably be in Southern California. So I'm very, very keen on Southern California style Mexican food, and being on the East Coast now for 6 or 7 years, I miss that so much.
Yeah, I am certainly a taco snob. They are not very good anywhere but here. You can hate me if you like. I actually got a taco in Australia. It was full of curry, and I was like, this is wrong.
That's not right. That's blasphemy.
This is not okay. Netflix or theater?
I'm gonna go with Netflix, I guess. I probably in this moment would really go for theater, because I think we're about done with Netflix and watched everything at this point. So
Oh good, I have a Netflix question in here for you.
Uh-oh.
This one's gonna really make you choose and make half of the room hate you. New York City or Los Angeles?
The worst question. Everybody always asks that.
East Coast, West Coast.
I know. At the end of the day, if you made me choose, I would probably choose LA.
Yes. Score for the tacos and Los Angeles. Dress up or dress down?
I would say probably dress down mostly. Dress smart.
Nice. Cardio or smart, yes. Cardio or weights?
Weights.
Weights. Chinese food or Japanese food?
Japanese.
Japanese, good. Although Chinese, I mean, when you're in China, some of the food there is just so incredible the way they prepare it. So I think,
Yeah, I love Chinese food.
yeah,
I've actually never been to China, but I feel like most of my exposure to Chinese food thus far has
yeah,
been to, the American version of Chinese food.
right.
So actually, I'd be super interested to see what Chinese food is like in China.
Yeah, because American Chinese is kind of like a taco in Australia.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Card games or board games?
Card games, and specifically spades.
Spades. Okay. I used to play that with my mom. Um, Perfect teeth or perfect hair, since you have both.
Oh,
Usually.
please.
Usually. I'm not going to say you have
You're
perfect
too
hair.
kind. You're too kind. I'm gonna go with perfect hair.
Perfect hair. Okay. Perfect hair day.
That's right.
Would you take a truth or a dare? And I'm not asking you to do one right now.
Oh, thank God. Um, I feel I would probably go with the dare. I feel like live on the wild side.
Yeah, I like that. Alone or in a crowd?
Right now in a crowd.
Anything. Anything away from Chad. Just kidding. Swimming or cocktail by the pool?
Cocktail by the pool.
Yeah, I'm with you. Salon or barber shop?
Mm. I'm gonna go with salon.
Okay. Fancy.
You have to appreciate, or especially in a moment when so many men's haircuts are fades, right?
Yeah.
You got to appreciate a really amazing scissor over comb fade.
Yeah.
That's like really well done. I love the barbershop as well, but I don't know. I love both.
They're both really good. That was a mean question. The 80s or the 90s?
80s.
80s, for sure. And then we get into people now. Madonna or Cher?
I gotta say Cher. I think she's aged more gracefully than Madonna, quite frankly.
That's true.
I'm gonna go with Cher, and especially since my dad lived with them for a while, so I go with Cher.
I mean, I had no idea Sonny and Cher when I wrote that. And then finally, last but not least, Carol Baskin or Joe Exotic?
Joe Exotic.
Okay. Me too.
Neither are great options, but
they're both terrible.
Actually, she killed her husband.
She for sure killed her husband.
She did.
We're talking attempted murder, both probably killed cats, and accomplished murder. Yeah, I'm gonna go with Joe too.
I love I saw some meme or something. She's like, or maybe this was an actual quote, but she married her second husband, and she's like, "Yeah, I look forward to being with you for the rest of your life."
She said that?
Yeah. Something like that.
Little Freudian slip there.
Yeah.
Well, Zach, this has been so much fun. This is the time where I just like to give you a few moments to share anything we didn't cover and say anything you'd like to say to everyone watching. And also we'll be reposting this at Michael Sean Corby. So your final arguments, the lawyer in you.
No final arguments. I just want to say thanks for having me on MSCTV, and just give a shout out to everybody out there that tuned in or maybe watching this later. Hang in there. Thankfully, this is not going to be the way that life is forever. So just hang in there. We'll get through it, and stick together. That's how we make it happen, right?
Absolutely. And you